Hey, what's up, America? It's Ethnin with DeVore Capital. Man, this is DeVore Live, presented to you by DeVore Capital. Are we even still saying that? Well, I don't think we are still saying that.
Yeah, we're still saying it, man.
Yeah,
They're hosting, they're paying the bill.
Yeah.
They're paying the bill. We got to give them a shout out.
No, for sure, for sure. This is a part of DeVore Media. Man, we're so excited. We have an amazing show, man, ready for you today. But let me introduce our co-host today. We have Scott Free DeVore.
Hey, what's up? Scott DeVore, CEO of DeVore Capital, sponsored by, we got some sponsors, Free Factor. That's my podcast, my other podcast. And, of course, we got the personal branded merch right there.
Heck yeah. And also we have, man, Wes Deason. It's first time to DeVore Live. Talk to us.
First time, Wes Deason, president of the roofing division here at DeVore Capital. And, get a chance to get alive with you guys, talk some good stuff.
For sure.
We got some good articles to talk about today. Found this first one. I think we got to jump right into it.
Yeah, let's do it.
So, in New York, a roofing company called Adirondack Roofing Company, they moved a worker to try to cover up a death. So, the article goes into a fact that they're putting a roof on in Northampton. So first of all, Northampton.
Yeah, I need to see that house.
That's probably houses. That's probably not like in the hood or anything.
Oh,
like that.
yeah.
That's probably a nice house.
North of 10,
anyway,
man.
Worker falls off the roof. Apparently, injures himself. He's not dead yet at this point, but the owner decides to cover up the work accident. They go hide him by a bridge, and then they call 911. And they come, they find he's in and out of consciousness. I guess they airlift him to the medical facility, but he dies on site. And then they find out that he ordered everybody to cover up the fact that he fell and trying to get away with it, all because he didn't have workers' comp insurance.
Oh, my goodness. So he's still going to have to pay out anyway.
Well, he's going to get sued
yeah,
for sure.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So because he didn't pay out initially, it always comes back to you. You always reap what you sow. But what's crazy is, man, I wonder what the first 48 was that about. Like, you know what I mean? Like, and so he fell, or
Yeah.
like, okay,
So he fell off a roof, and then it literally says that he was injured at the construction site.
Yeah.
Then the owner instructed everybody to go clean everything up as if it never happened, and they physically moved the body to a bridge, and then called 911 to say.
what?
Yeah.
Man, so what charges did they get?
So they
Not
got so they got him for tampering with physical evidence,
Yeah.
failure to secure workers' compensation. But here's the crazy part: he was only sentenced to 5 years of probation for that. The owner.
No prison, no nothing.
No prison. Ordered to pay some fines, undisclosed as far as how much the fines were. But
that family's gonna
sentenced
sue him
to
for
5
everything he's
years of
worth.
probation.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm gonna get more than 5 years of probation doing something not even near that.
Yeah.
That
Yeah,
bad.
he got off
But
easy. So
literally.
did they mention if he was legal or illegal?
That they didn't mention. I don't see that in the article. That would
Okay.
be interesting.
Well,
to
you
see.
would think he would
but-
have to be. Why would they move his body? What if he became conscious again and then was able to tell the story?
100%.
It's where, first of all, he wasn't dead yet. So they
Yeah.
wasted all that time
That's
to
what I'm- yeah, for
move
sure,
him.
for sure.
He was in and out of consciousness and then airlifted. He might have survived if they would have called right away. I mean, that is, I think, where they're if there is family, they're going to sue. But if he doesn't have workers' comp, he probably doesn't have enough money to pay off whatever he's going to be getting. Would be my guess. I mean, yeah, workers' comp and roofing, as we know, is stupid expensive. There's no doubt about it. But there's no way you can do this business and not have the proper insurance. But it still exists all the time, which is crazy.
No. You see, what's crazy is, if you have what you need initially, right, you wouldn't go through those crazy antics and schemes to try and cover up something. And that's why we always push here at DeVore Capital is doing legitimate business. Because if you do legitimate business and if you do it right, you don't have to come back and then have to hide something. Now you're in a bigger light and exposing. And don't get me wrong, like people always say, any publicity is good publicity, but this ain't.
No,
This,
this is not.
I don't think
this is
this
not
is-
what, yeah, yeah.
I don't think he would ever
No.
be able to roof again.
I mean, in my mind, here's the thing: is that competition is fierce in roofing. It's fierce in construction.
Yeah.
Everybody's trying to get the lowest bid out there because that's the way they feel like they're going to get the job. And if they're not paying insurance, that's probably a huge savings that they're going to save, so that they can then go cheaper. But you're just rolling the dice. Am I ever going to have an injury? Am I ever going to have a problem where workers' comp's going to come involved? This is going to crush him. It's going to shut him down. There's no way anybody does business with this guy ever again.
Yeah.
Was it worth not charging a little bit more and then covering everybody like they're supposed to be? I mean, that's just what it really boils down to.
No, for sure. And I mean, as we're transitioning, man, if it happened in Florida, man, that'd be crazy on the news. But man, Florida is, man, always on top. In Florida, we trust. I think is what we named this segment of it. But man, Florida's population passes 23 million, man, for the first time due to residents moving from other states. So man, we're hot on the market. Florida is.
Yep, secret's been out the bag. I moved here 9 years ago. I
Yep.
don't even know what the population was 9 years ago.
Yeah.
It probably was. You think it was 20 million 9 years ago?
I that's a good question. I actually don't know. I moved here 17 years ago, but honestly, not because I was planning on coming to Jacksonville. It was a little more of a just a gamble. Like, hey, it's a beach town. We want to live closer to mom and dad. Let's go. But we know that because of the real estate market and building going on, that tons of people are moving here. But the consensus, I mean, this could be the rub or not, but the consensus is we don't want everybody moving here, especially from some of the states they're moving from.
Yep.
Well, I mean, if we're being very specific, they're moving from those states maybe because of, man, all the taxes and all that kind of stuff, income issues and all that kind of stuff. But man, Florida is hot. One, right now we have a governor that seems like he cares about the people, for the people. He's trying to do things as clean as possible. Obviously, we know in politics, people are politicians for a reason. But man, he's doing things right. He's doing things by the book. But also, there's so much opportunity in Florida. There's rising markets everywhere, and Jacksonville is one of those rising markets. Obviously, the real estate is booming right now, and DeVore Capital is on the front end of that. So, Scott, can you talk to us a little bit, man? If you're moving into Florida, man, what do you need to be looking for, especially Jacksonville specific? Obviously, you've been a resident for 9 years. But speak to somebody or a business owner that's like, man, should I move to Florida?
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, Jacksonville, I mean, I can speak to it because it was my story 9 years ago.
Yeah.
I moved here for a number of reasons, and one of those was to start a business. I would say Jacksonville is like the best city within the state. I mean, it has the most opportunity, has the most upside. It has phenomenal infrastructure already.
Yeah.
You got I-95, you got I-10, so you can go to New York, you can go out to LA on the two most major interstates within the U.S. itself. But when you look at the numbers, like before I answer the question, they said that most of New York's ex-population, like the first state that they go to is Florida. And they've brought like over something like almost half $500 billion of exodus from New York has made its way to Florida from all of the people, like, because generally the people who are leaving are those who have wealth, who probably saw, if I would stay in New York and stay in business, or whether they're an entrepreneur and had a company, or just like a really highly skilled employee who was making a lot of money, they were giving so much money of that to that state government that was not like putting in the measures to make them stay. It was very unsafe. It was highly taxed. Just all the horrible things that happened, like during the pandemic. So now all that wealth has made it to our state. So not only are we getting the gain from that, but we're also, I think we are getting like the best of the best of those who, saw why the state is so good. So if you're a business owner, or if you're, someone who's looking to move here, Jacksonville is probably the best city that you want to move in. It's not as cheap as it used to be. Like 9 years ago when I moved here, like my house has doubled in price in that 9 years. But the thing is, it's still significantly cheaper than all the other metropolitan areas in the state. We have, like I said, phenomenal infrastructure. We have this great beltway that connects every area of the city together. The traffic is bad, but it's definitely not as bad as Orlando, as Miami, or even Tampa. We have a great working population here. The rates are significantly lower here still than the other parts. So the housing's cheaper. We got just as good or better infrastructure. We have a phenomenal port. We have a great airport that's being expanded. I mean, there's just so many benefits of Florida, but specifically Jacksonville.
You know, they always, and we'll go to Wes, we'll go to hear your thoughts here in a minute, but, you know, they will always liken to being the next Miami. And I actually don't think we'll be the next Miami. The way I feel like Jacksonville is structured, it's going to be like almost the next Atlanta. And the reason why I'm saying that is, man, you know, Atlanta is such a transient city. Built, it was almost like it's like a, you know, a city built within a town. It's trees everywhere, but then you go down to Midtown, you go to downtown, you go all these places that are very trendy. And I feel like that's what's happening within Jacksonville, that it's almost like a city built within a town. Miami just has a city feel from beginning to end,
right.
You know what I'm saying, in the beach.
Yeah,
but it has that. So, and I said to say this, you know, right now, because there's still so much land to be acquired, don't get me wrong, investors are buying. Like, man, you could be, you know, hot, fresh on the market right now and be the next big thing if you want to invest. And we have incredible investing opportunities here at DeVore Capital. So please, man, comment down below, man, send us a DM, and we'll love to talk to you about some of those possibilities. Like right down here, you know, man, we have a lady, she's building some almost like an amphitheater, you know, nightclub kind of situation over here. But that's one of thousands that's going to be here, you know what I mean? Or an event facility for artists to come in. And so, man, so what you think about what's happening in the growth, Wes?
Well, I know an article just came out today. I saw it this morning that you were talking business. Starting a business, Jacksonville was number 7 on the list out of 10 in the entire country as the best place to start a business. Miami being number 1, Jacksonville being number 7.
Yeah.
Texas and Florida are the 2 top states, with only 2 with, you know, 2 actual cities making that list. And so, you know, coming here and being able to start a business, I think all the money coming in there, you know, only benefits you to start a business. But one of the interesting things, like in this article, over 10% of the population, though, is 75 years or older. We're only second to Puerto Rico.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of people, those baby boomer age, that are going to be, you know, Florida obviously has a lot of areas where people retire, you know, and all those little Del Webb communities and, you know, Margaritaville communities and all that. The 55 and older, and I think it'll always be that case. But, you know, when I think of all these people moving here, I think of what it changes in a political climate. And, you know, we're in a political year, you know, lots of crazy stuff going on there. And, you know, Florida is starting now to grow and bud. And it makes you wonder, you know, how much of that is going to get convoluted with people coming in from other states, maybe with different views, different ideas. And then now, you know, it's going to slow that growth rate down. Even this says they think it's going to peak at this year, and it's going to slow down to under 1% of growth, but by the year 2030. So I'm not sure what
Florida specific.
Yeah, so Florida specific by the early 2030s, Florida's growth rate will be under 1%. Our death rate's still higher than our people coming in rate. So, you know, birth rate. So, you know, it just makes you wonder, you know, obviously people coming to Florida because of the business growth, the ways to grow. If that somehow switches, then where do you go?
Yeah.
You know, what do you do? Obviously I don't want that to happen. So,
you know, here, let me share my thoughts. So I think it's like us, like being leaders, you know, in this community. It's, you know, our friends down in South Florida, Patrick, Bet David, that crew, you know, they set up their roots in South Florida and Fort Lauderdale specifically, where they're speaking out on, you know, the kind of the same things. Obviously, we love the way our state is run compared to other states. So we need to have leaders who are unafraid to get on platforms like we've created here, and we're sharing our thoughts of why we're successful because of the values that we have. Like we understand why we're different than others. We don't want to become like them. We just have to make sure that, you know, people are being vocal about it so that, you know, we don't get amnesia and forget.
Yeah.
You know, as we have an older population, obviously they love, they're not working, they're not producing anymore. They're in the twilights of their lives. You know, they've invested a lot, you know, working, and now they're getting the Social Security, the Medicare, Medicaid, and all that stuff. But if our population growth, you know, that's just happening all over the world, especially in the highly developed countries like ours specifically. So yeah, if we're not getting the younger workforce who's able to, you know, bring the tax money in to cover, those types of, things that the older population is benefiting from. Yeah, it could change, but I think we just got to be very vocal about what our beliefs are, what our values are, so we make sure those stay constant, whether it's still going to be DeSantis in office in 2 years or if it's going to be a different change that we're, voicing enough to make sure that we're getting the right people into the positions to keep our policies the way that they need to be.
Yeah, absolutely. And Ethan brought up a point, as far as younger people, we're still not the budding young, vibrant downtown. Even from when I moved here 16 years ago, there was stuff going on. We had the landing over, not far from our office right here. In fact, we can see Catty-Corner. We can almost see it. And then they tore that out, and all the nightclubs and the restaurants, they're all gone. Now, a lot of money coming back in. Investment Authority, I think, is doing a great job. But we're still we're easily 10, 15 years behind the curve of a Tampa or a Miami or an Orlando. And, so it's still going to take time for Jacksonville to come into its own. But you solidify yourself, you put yourself in the right position. When it gets there, I think you're sitting, in a really pretty spot.
Yeah, and obviously our goal is to be a $100 million company, by the end of the decade, and we're moving towards that. We're a sales blitz right now to hire incredible sales professionals. If you're watching and you're a sales professional, give us your contact information. We'd love to give you a call. But we want to be on the front end of that. No one wants to come into a city and feel like, oh man, like I'm the underdog. But like, because I think the city is the underdog, anybody can take it at this point. Anybody can be like, you know what, man, let's rock and roll and let's push forward. And so that's what we're building here at DeVore Capital, is we're building a group of people who want to lead in every industry, honestly, known to man and possible. But with all the people moving into Jacksonville, Florida, man, do you think we'll be able to make the Jags better? You know what I'm saying? Like,
you want to go there?
Yeah, please. Like,
you want to go there? Oh my goodness.
We got 23 million people, man.
What's going to make the Jags better is if Trevor Lawrence lives up to his potential.
Yeah,
they gave him the bag.
Line that might help him.
They gave him like $50+ million a year. I think there was an article that we wanted to talk about where I don't think the reports are, very favorable on how he's looking so far in preseason.
The actual report says Trevor Lawrence's awful Jaguar training camp earns him the worst comparison imaginable. Trevor Lawrence's play in training camp is reminiscent of a former Jaguars QB. Guess who they're saying?
Yeah, that's no doubt. Bortles.
Yeah, Blake Bortles. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me?
Mr. Interception.
Hey, man, Bortles almost got us to the Super Bowl.
Almost being the operative word, almost.
But no, so man, I'll never forget. So the Jaguars had the #1 pick for what was it, like 3 years in a row?
Yeah.
A few years back, and everybody going crazy. Oh, we're going to be the next, and then disappointing season, and then we draft the #1, and then a year later he's gone. Trevor's the only one that's now stuck around for a little bit. And granted, a couple years ago we had that big playoff season. Cinderella made it to the playoffs, almost beat the Chiefs. That was super exciting last year. Now completely disappointing again. Not even to make the playoffs.
Yeah, we almost made the playoffs.
So they've got a lot of room. They got a lot of salary cap, and so why they're not spending it on the offensive line, I'm not sure. Sounds like the defense is stellar, but before we go off on Trevor Lawrence being all of a sudden going to have a horrible year, and everybody listening is going to be like, oh man, you guys are crazy, because they're hoping for something different. They are saying they changed some practice guidelines as far as kind of how they started, and nobody should be really worried. So, what do you think? You worried? Early on, you worried? What kind of season are we going to have this year?
It's always to keep your stress level high. I mean, we got the first preseason game against the Kansas City Chiefs. I don't know if they're even going to play the starters then. Was that like in a week?
Yeah.
Next weekend? Mm-hmm. It's hard to say, man. I mean,
probably first quarter.
Everyone was so let down last year. There was moments where Trevor looked phenomenal, and then there was moments where he just looked like, the most average starting quarterback out there.
100%.
I have faith. I think Peterson is a great coach. Obviously, Peterson won a Super Bowl with Nick Foles, of all people, and I was a big Nick Foles fan.
Man, Nick Foles, he's good.
Yeah, man. I was happy when we had him here in Jacksonville. Then I thought they did him wrong. But I think you still got a good coach. You still got a franchise quarterback. They believe in him. So it's not like he's coming in where he's not sure if he's going to be around. He already got the money, got the bag. They lost, Ridley. That was a great, wide receiver that they lost. They still got talent. I think you said the offensive line probably could have used some beefing up. But I think in our division, we're definitely going to be concerned about the Houston Texans because they were on
Yeah.
this ascent
Let me
last
tell you
year.
something. The Houston
Man.
Texans, bro, watch out for the Super Bowl. I mean, them boys are bad, man.
I mean, I wouldn't give him that much credit. I think Stroud's going to
Could've-
fall off.
he had a little
I think he's
fluke.
going to have a
He had a big
sophomore
year.
letdown.
What,
Yeah.
sophomore slump?
Yeah, I think
Okay.
that could happen. But Trevor's what? This is his fifth year.
Yeah.
His fifth year.
Yeah.
So things can turn the corner. You look at what Jordan Love did last year for the Packers.
Yeah.
He
I
went
actually
from,
think he's going to be.
They never
yeah.
thought if he was going to work out. Now he got the
He's
same
got the bigger-
contract.
yeah,
he
he
got
got
the
a
same
huge
contract that
contract.
Trevor got.
Yeah.
He had one good half of a year.
Yeah. I actually think Love is going to be the next. He's going to be in the next like top 10 quarterbacks in the next 2 or 3 years.
Man, that's
The next 2
I
3
don't
years,
agree
I
with
think.
that.
But here's the reason why, because oftentimes, and we can play this out in many different ways in life. Oftentimes, I think in team sports we emphasize on the individual. Oftentimes, but the system that you're put in, man, you can become a winner. And I think the system that Green Bay has, like punch in the mouth defense, and then they run the ball hard, right? And then a few throws here and there. Don't get me wrong, Brett Favre was exceptional. Aaron Rodgers were exceptional.
Yeah.
And if Jordan Love can make the throws he can make, I think the team can rally around him to honestly win a few Super Bowls. But I think it's what you think. You disagree?
No,
No,
you're throwing
well,
Super Bowls out there.
Yeah,
Man,
I
let
think so.
him have a couple good seasons before I would even consider that's his ceiling.
In the next decade, they'll win a Super Bowl with Jordan Love for sure.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, that's my prediction
Yeah.
for sure.
That could be. That could be.
If you're predicting that, I would say then Trevor Lawrence will win 5 Super Bowls in the next 10 years.
Okay, well,
if that's the high regard you're putting Jordan Love in.
Yeah, because I mean, don't get me wrong. When he first was there, I was like a little nervous. I was like, man, like he seems like he's a bust. He had that one game that they let him play a few years back. He did okay. It wasn't that great. But I just think when he comes into his own, I think he'll do very well.
They did the right thing to lock him up, though, because
sure.
think of the Dallas Cowboys and Dak Prescott. Yeah, he's got talent, he's good, but Jerry Jones is I don't know what goes through his mind, but he always leaves it for a season by season deal, and then they got to go lock him up. And he can go get some big money somewhere else. So now they got to pay him more on a yearly basis compared to if they would have just gave him a bigger contract.
Yeah,
and locked
you
him
talking
up. So
about Dak Prescott?
Yeah.
Man, I wouldn't have paid that man, bro. Man,
I think they should have
Dak's
locked him
done
up a
so
couple
much
years
more
ago.
than Jordan Love
Yeah,
ever
they
would
should have locked him
he
up
has
a long time ago.
for sure. But he can't win the big games.
No.
That's it. That's his
And-
his big thing.
Yeah, he
Yeah,
can't win
and
the big
Jordan Love, he won a playoff game this year.
Yeah.
right? Yeah, so
As first year starter. Obviously, he was there last year, but like his
Yeah.
first, So, I mean, we'll see, man. Man, it's super good, but obviously, moving in more into the real estate world, we see on the beach side of things that we recently been I'm talking about Jacksonville that sold for $15 million at oceanfront rental property. Man, it's actually pretty cool because if you look at everything that's being developed, in each part of town, there's so much stuff going on downtown here, man, with everything happening in St. Augustine with the Beltway being built. What do y'all think about what's happening real estate wise?
yeah, so the beaches, obviously the beaches are the beaches.
Yeah.
It's always going to be desirable. Man, I remember when I moved here 9 years ago, there were still areas in the beaches that was affordable, but it just became like California.
Yeah.
Where California, if it's beachfront, oceanfront, it's just going to be it's going to be a gagillion dollars.
Yeah.
So Jacksonville used to have opportunities, but like this building here, 15 million, it's like it's a little retail center. It's not even that big. I don't even know what the square footage is, but it's probably going to get I would think it's going to get some type of like major renovation to it. It hosts the Shim Sham Room. You ever been to the Shim Sham Room?
I haven't. I've had
35,000 square feet.
Yeah, people have talked about it. I've not been to the Shim Sham Room. It's got another little beach bar in there, like a restaurant. I mean, obviously a cool area. I mean, the beaches, it doesn't get enough credit in Jacksonville because our beach isn't as nice of a beach as you go just a little further south and you get, a whole lot nicer beaches.
Even Neptune is nicer than I think like Jack's Beach, like proper. But
Yeah, I think they're trying.
It's
like
the
they're
same
finally
to
getting-
me.
it's the same to you?
Yeah.
Okay.
between Atlantic Beach
between
down to
Atlantic
Ponte Vedra, or even there, I think the beach just feels about the same to me.
maybe our beaches don't get enough credit, but also I think they're still trying to figure out to try to make the nightlife and things down there like another Miami, Tampa area. Once again, just like downtown, that's the other area where people are going to go for vibrant things, which is only going to make real estate more popular, more expensive, and they haven't quite gotten there yet. I don't know if it's restrictions from government, the local officials or whatever it is, but
Well, it's a different, it's a much different layout because Miami is all condos. I mean, and then Jack's Beach, there are a couple like mid-rise. Maybe you can call them a high-rise, but you still got a lot of like duplexes, like one or two story level homes. So it's still like a family.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not really family because not that many families live there, but it's just a completely different vibe than
For
what
sure.
you get in Miami.
No, yeah, and obviously, man, they need to have us do that roof. That's what we need to do. Because
I know we've been on a big one down there, so we'll see what happens with that one.
No, for sure. But man, can we talk about something that is, man, it seems as if it is the most innovative product right now in roofing. And obviously we have, the president of roofing here. And I want to, can we talk about the GAF, man, solar shingle? Because I think they need to understand how revolutionary this product is.
So, yeah, I mean, this is really unique because, not a lot of people actually know about it still. And yet it's been in development for almost 4.5 years. But it's just gone into mass scale within the last couple of years. So they had a version of it, worked through some kinks. It really only came out in California to try to get it launched. The CEO of GAF, he put it on his house, just try to get things going. But when you're thinking of solar, you're thinking of everything traditional, because even though Tesla got all hot there for a minute with their Tesla solar roof, which was a really cool concept, just the price was astronomical, nobody could afford it, and then they found out that it was impossible to repair. So then people couldn't get it fixed if it didn't work, and God forbid something happened. Now they got, now got another huge expense. So it just wasn't practical. It even got to the point where Tesla pulled it off the market. I mean, it's not even on their hot radar screen right now as far as what Elon's kind of pushing and going towards. But it was a cool concept, and out of that was then born the fact that you've got a roof and then you've got solar, and the two really don't go together because they bolt into the roof. You got to put 200 plus, bolted systems in the roof. We've been through the training. We've gone through and see how it's done. They just hammer the spike, the bolt into the roof. They don't even know if they're hitting a truss, to where it's secured correctly. But they're putting all these holes in the roof, which automatically voids the shingles. And now when somebody needs to take it back, off or back on, half the times those solar companies, they third party got a company to come in and do the installation. So the solar company you call isn't even able to help you. So there's just a lot of cons to that whole scenario. And, just kind of going through it in our Jacksonville market, because of that, and solar being prominent because we got sun 300 days of the year, and it's good like that. It's just, people really want it. So what now has come out of that is GEF got really, they hired an engineer. She's been in solar forever, got the patent on this, which is the first nailable solar shingle. So literally, you got a shingle. It just happens to draw energy just like your normal shingle would. And so when you're installing a roof, that is exactly what you're doing. You're not bolting on anything extra. You're not adding on anything extra that has to be secondary to what you're installing. So you're putting on a new roof, and just a portion of it, a couple squares worth, 3 squares worth, whatever, okay, however big you're making it, happens to draw energy back, which goes towards your energy bill. You get the tax credit, a lot of other benefits. So revolutionary wise, it's the cat's meow. It's like, it's just now getting the word out there that this exists, and people need to know how to put it together. Because it's absolutely amazing. It'll blow, once it catches on, really starts moving, it'll blow traditional solar away, hands down.
For sure. And obviously we're the leader in Jacksonville, and so we would love to help people out. Can we talk about specifically the instant investment that people may get in that? Obviously it's for a long term, but talk about equity in case they sell the home. Talk about those type of things that we can help educate homeowners that, okay, they may see as it being daunting, but they don't know the ultimate benefits that they can get.
So one of the instant benefits is, of course, savings on your energy bill. The minute they can flick the switch is, let's just say you got a $200 a month energy bill and you're drawing some power from the sun. You're going to have maybe a $100 energy bill or whatever the case. You're going to have an instant, return of investment on that. So whatever you're paying in to to pay in to get that solar system, you're getting back that way. The other is the federal income tax credit, which, there's rumors that could change depending on who gets in office, but right now it's 30%. And there's even some states that have extra credits that they'll give you on that. I'm not a tax professional. I can't tell you how to figure that out and use it, but that could be substantial because the other big thing is you get the actual tax credit off the entire roofing system. So if I put a normal roof on for a homeowner, there's no rebate that they're going to get. There's no savings. It's just they spent the money. That's it. They say within 5 years, you're down to less than 10% of the value of that roof being able to equate that into your home if you were to sell it. A solar roofing system like this, now you've given yourself up to a 30+% return of investment. If I were to sell this house in 5 years, because I can transfer that warranty and also transfer the energy savings, then it's going to give that homeowner a benefit to buy my house, and I can actually roll some of that money in there. So there's a lot of advantages that people will get right off the bat by adding this in there. Not to mention just obviously the no-brainer one, which is money off my electric bill every month.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, you can get it. I mean, the ROI on it, there's a couple ways people want to do solar. Most people, like what has been said is, go put some solar on your roof and offset your energy. That may not be the best solution for others, just because there's a cost to it, and you may not be able to get the full ROI on it for like 15 years or whatever, and you may not want to be in a house for that long. So a lot of people are in this position where they want to, be more climate friendly. They want to be green and everything, but they know I'm probably not going to be in this house for, my kids are going into high school. I'm probably here like 5 more years. So they don't want to make that investment. So they completely dismiss, the opportunity of adding solar. But we try to educate them in a different way, where maybe not think of, a full complete system. Like, what's the terminology where you replace your energy 100%, recover your energy?
total, 100% offset.
Yeah, 100. It might not be 100% offset, but there's a way where you can add it, where you can, because you're adding it. Now you're getting that tax credit, which is 30%. It may go down to 20%. But they keep extending to 30%. But you get the tax credit. You're doing some offset, and that tax credit is not just on the solar, but it's on the entire roof. So think if you're investing $25,000, $30,000 into the roof and the solar, that's a huge number. 30% times if it's 30, that's like almost 10 grand.
Yeah.
Right there. And then the ROI time frame on a smaller system, if you're only going to be there for 5-7 years, you can actually realize that ROI in that 5 to 7 year time frame. You also get the warranty of the it's going to produce, like, what's that warranty called that GFF offers? That it's going to maintain a certain percentage of the
they'll guarantee
efficiency.
the power output.
Yeah,
they'll guarantee the power output over 25 years, which just that alone is 15 years over traditional solar. Usually caps that out at 10 years is what they'll guarantee that system will produce over 10 years. And you're backed by a company that's been around 125 years, that they'll even do what they call their lean forward program, or and they've got a couple warranty programs that'll actually pay you if it's not producing what it's supposed to based on what they've engineered and designed up front. But just kind of piggyback on the investment part, to me, it's like anything else. If I'm going to spend $20,000 to add solar to my roof, it's if I were to put that same $20,000 in the market, if I'm looking to making an investment, which I think that's how people need to look at solar. Unless you're just somebody that wants to just be green, like I want the first thing that comes out, I want the most tech advanced thing. I don't really care how much it costs. I'm good with it. I'm giving to the environment. Then that's great. You're not really concerned about the investment. But for most people, it's like, I'm investing $20,000 into my roof, and what's my return? And we can actually do that. What's cool is we can actually do the calculation. GF helps us do it, where it will tell you based on your savings, your tax credit, everything else, what your return of investment is year over year. And a lot of times, let's just say in a traditional market, I might get 6, 7%, 8% if I'm lucky on an average over 10 years. I've seen some of these come back with 10 and 11% returns of investment over that same period of time. So it just depends on where you're trying to look to invest money that you have available to you. I think that's the way you need to look at it.
Yeah, one of the things that, obviously that we do very well, we do residential, we do commercial, and now adding the GAF Solar Shingle to our portfolio, man, we're really your one-stop shop for anything you need with roofing needs. And so give us a call at 844-4DeVore or, man, DeVoreCapital.com. Hit the link down below, comment. Do whatever you need to do to get in contact with us so we can do the best job, man, for you. Moving on to the next segment. Obviously, gets a little wilder here. The Olympics, man, come on, people. What is going on? Obviously, we are Christians within DeVore Capital. We're not necessarily a Christian company, but we are Christians, man, specific. And so I'm baffled, perplexed, really. At any time, any moment, we get to these. I'm not trying to be slight when I say this. The entire world is watching, the entire world, and we have a moment where transgenders choose to reenact the Last Supper in dishonoring the Christian faith. And look, you can do whatever you want to do, really. I have no qualms on what you do as a person, right? But I have qualms and issues with every time a religion is made fun of on a world and grand scale, it's Christianity. Every time. You will never see a skit, you'll never see a monologue, you'll never see anything like that about any other world religion but Christianity. Let's talk about it.
Yeah. The funniest thing that I think that came from this, have you seen the meme where it's like a screenshot of like one of the people who was like making fun of the Last Supper with the blue face, and there were so many people who tried to defend it, like it was like Greek like it was a
Greek mythology.
Yeah. And the meme
was based
was
off of something else.
Yeah, the meme was, it's funny how many Greek mythology experts there are nowadays.
Yeah.
Like, okay, sure.
Yeah.
Like, did you really look into it?
Yeah.
But here's the problem that I have. The main problem is it's like intentional, right?
100%.
I know a lot of people who are in LGBTQ and all that, family
sure.
members who are there, and love them. They're not like they're very loving. We love each other.
Love
as a
them for
family.
sure.
But
100%.
there's a certain sect that seems to be extremely intentional of coming after Christianity. And this was a deliberate thing to basically come at Christianity and to do that. Where if you're asking for equality, to be treated equal, you don't want people to attack you, then why are you attacking Christianity? Like, you're not living to what you're saying that you want. So just something is not right with that. That's my first thought around all this.
Yeah.
Well, and call it controversial, call it whatever you want. It's also just as I don't think Christianity should be pushed onto anybody. Like, a Christian should love God, and because of that, and the way that they act and the way that they speak, it just comes out naturally. And hey, if I'm talking to you, and along those lines, and there's an opportunity for me to just say, hey, have you heard about Christ? Would you like to know more or something? I don't feel like that's like pushing it on somebody. But when the whole world's watching, you've got a platform, and then you put something together and on there that absolutely just shoves it down everybody's throat and makes you take it that way, however, and then, no wonder there's so much controversy. And now the Olympics is trying to walk it back. Oh, really wasn't meant that way, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, whatever.
It's my thought is always like, why did it even, who dreamed that up, and who thought it was okay just to shove that? Because they wouldn't, like you said, one, they pick fun of Christianity a lot. You don't see other skits, but you also don't see Christianity getting shoved down everybody's throat that way either.
For sure. And what's crazy is, they always say, Christianity is the the religion that hates on people because it's very exclusive and things like that. Which I disagree with. We're out of love. We're saying we believe what we believe, but beyond that, if you talk about any other religions, like in the Quran, it goes into saying they give you the right to kill somebody that does not believe in Islam.
Mm-hmm.
What more evil can there be? While the Bible says love your enemies. Okay, you know what I mean. So
yeah.
let's how in the world can we even correspond with those things? But even beyond that, one thing that's tragic is, so much of society is to destroy what is. If we're being honest, a lot of people try to destroy what's good. They try to destroy what's true, and they try to destroy what's honest. And the crazy cool thing about it is, a few hours later, there was a citywide blackout in Paris, which I thought was cool. And then I think next few days there was thousands in the street, in response to that, worshiping the Lord. So that's a little mini revival, because of what happened, in that. And so God does take the the bad things and He makes them good, according to His purpose. But man, I just want to see. Obviously, the Bible says, right, it was spiritual warfare, and we don't fight against flesh and blood, but we fight against principalities and powers. Ephesians 6, high places. Okay, Scott, Ephesians 6. Okay, you know what I mean. And obviously, we know we're at war. But man, it's just it's so disheartening every time we see that in a world scale.
Yeah, what I want to add to that is, there's a lot of pretty dominant personalities online, like an Andrew Tate and a bunch of people who are like, where are the Christians at? They're going to let them, make fun and no one speaks up. That is 100% false. Yeah. As you said, in Paris, there was thousands of people protesting, lots of people online, on podcasts like we're doing, speaking out against it. 100%. And Andrew Tate's like, if they would have did that to a Muslim, there would be blood on the streets. Yeah. Well, Christians don't do that, as you said. Yeah. There's a difference. We are not 100%. Going to go and murder people because they make fun of our religion, because Jesus taught us not to do that, to love them, to pray for them. Yeah. Because they don't hate us, they just hate the truth. Mm. And, there's just so many misguided people who don't know what the absolute truth is out there. And so we're going to love on them. We're going to live to, as best we can, to the standard that Jesus Christ has set for us. And, we know He's in control of all things. So that's my thoughts on that.
Well, but I also think, too, when you talk about, hate and racism, which are obviously two huge topics in the country, because it's just 24/7. I think back to, you think of what this has created. Now, they did it from whatever platform they did it from and whatever thought process they had to put it out there, and what they were trying to gain from it, I'm not sure. But the amount of hate now, the amount of racism now, and I go back to a Morgan Freeman interview years ago when they were talking to him and talking about racism, and they asked him this just a straightforward question: how do you stop racism? He goes, quit talking about it. If everybody just quit doing stuff to push something on somebody else or quit talking about it, I believe hate, racism, things would go away, because it doesn't create topics like this. We wouldn't have this topic to sit here and debate over, talk about, see how people feel about it, because it just wouldn't exist, because there's just nothing going on. Yeah. People are just who they are, and then you have an ability to go meet them, talk to them, learn about who they are, love on them, whatever the case.
For sure. And also, I mean, we're inherent sinners, so we have, sin within us. But I just want to make a very, very clear statement, and this is a statement that is aside from DeVore Capital. So I just want to be very clear, even though we probably agree with the statement that's about to be said. But we love everyone. We want to be very clear. We love anybody that's in the alphabet community. We love anybody that's not. We love you. We'll do business with you guys and all that kind of stuff. But we want to be just very clear. Like, in the stance that we're taking, we're not saying that we're against any individual or against any political party, against any understanding. We're not saying we're against. We're saying, like, because we believe these principles and we believe what the Bible says, we choose love over hate. We choose love over destroying one another. We choose love over the ability to sin against somebody. We choose love, even though in our own right, we can say, man, we hate such and such, and we hate this, and we hate that. But the Bible doesn't give us that instruction too, so we technically can't. And so we love you, and it's not that, man, and I don't want anybody to take this and say, oh, you see these Bible bashing people. This is not what that is. This is saying, like, we live our lives to honor Christ, and what we saw with dishonoring to Christ and dishonoring to, man, honestly, His church and to the people who believe in Him. And just like the alphabet community wants a fair shot, a fair chance to do, what they're doing, why use, something that ultimately is, I think, the sign of love to the whole world. and to disintegrate it and to bring any kind of, it actually just shows the amount of influence Christianity has.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Man, to that level. And so I just want to be clear with that statement. And that's a personal, conviction, but also obviously as Christians, we love everybody. So as we're on the topic of transgenders, so in Washington, 3 transgenders,
They cleaned up.
They I'm
crushed
saying
on
that
this
wrong.
race.
I'm saying 3 transgenders. I'm saying that wrong, and it's
No, I think you're saying it right.
okay. So
All right, you want me to take over? So there was an article on a cyclist.
yeah, take that up.
And it was a women's race, I believe. And first place, second place, third place were biological men who are transgendered women.
Gold, silver, and
Yeah,
bronze.
so they cleaned up.
Yeah, for sure.
So no biological women placed. No,
Come
there was
on.
no winners.
No winner.
This just goes to
So it wasn't a women's event.
apparently not. Yeah. This just goes. I mean, it's horrible policies. It's for any woman. Again, it's going to do a couple of things. One, it's really going to if you're a woman, if you're a girl,
Be heartbroken.
I mean,
Kidding me?
if you cannot compete with a biological male in pretty much any athletic event. Sure, there will be the exception.
For
but
sure.
for the majority,
Have you seen Brock
overwhelming
Lesnar's
majority.
daughter in shot put? She's like, anyway, sorry.
She's the exception.
Yeah, she's massive. Maybe we
She's
need to
the
drop that in here. She's huge.
But man, it's just so sad how these things happen over and over and over and over. Like, when are women going to say enough is enough? This is ridiculous. There should not be biological men who identify now as a woman competing in our sports.
For sure. And it's not, I also think, like, if you are biological, right, and you choose to have a sex change or any of that, because of your DNA and who you are, you will always outperform the woman. You will always. So the fact that this isn't actually taking more onus, but that we're gonna see that more and more as they try to legislate, feelings. They try to legislate how people feel and things like that. We're gonna see this more and more because technically, if you tell somebody that okay, you can be a woman, technically you should do everything that's happening. But I saw in Finland, I had one of my friends. He's from Finland. He told me, specifically. There was an incident that happened in one of the bathrooms that a man that said he's a woman entered into a female bathroom and just in there. And so this woman brings her, young daughter into the bathroom, and it becomes a huge issue, and it becomes this almost like cultural dividing thing because this man that thinks he's a woman is now in and I mean, let's talk about safety. Let's talk about, man, how do you live in a society that now we're doing whatever we want.
Yeah,
Now,
there's
because
there's no truth. Everything's
100%.
relative.
And
Yeah.
you can't
You're
you
defying
can't take
truth.
a stand on anything.
100%.
There's no way to take a stand unless you want to fear blowback, fear cancel culture, whatever it is.
100%.
I don't even know who the queen of cancel culture is. I don't know how automatically there's somebody saying I'm the cancel culture person and everybody seems to know about it. But they're so worried about that. I'm reading this article. They're now talking about and they're going to change some restrictions and they're going to break transgenders into a group of A and B based on the race, not on what their biological born thing is. And it's all going to be based on testing for testosterone levels. It says that if you're above 2.5
that's
NMOL per liters,
That is actually
24
wild.
months, then you're in this category because you're a little beefier than the women that might be in there, and then they're gonna instead of just saying you're biological, that's just the way it is, man, woman, no, can't do that. Oh, too much blowback, too afraid, too scared, whatever. We're gonna test testosterone for God's sakes, and then that's gonna determine if you're female or male enough. Are you kidding me? I mean, who comes up with this crap? Honestly,
Yeah. And again, like, we love you. We're for your health. We're for your mind.
opinions expressed on this show don't exactly but man,
100%.
I'm unbelievable.
Man,
though. I think
if I
it's just a joke.
If I
It's
wanted to
absolute
get out
joke.
of paying my bills, I'm a dog. I look like a dog. I feel like a dog. That's my personal. So you can't. Dogs don't pay bills. You know what I'm saying?
So
like,
you mean a real dog? You're not like a dog.
Yeah.
You're talking about like a barking
For
dog.
sure, like a barking
Okay.
dog. Like, you know what I'm
'Cause
saying?
I
Like,
thought you were a dog already.
no. Oh, yeah. For sure. 100%. But a few last segments is, man, we've seen on here, man, which is super sad that Benny Hinn's wife filed for divorce for a second time, I do believe. Now she's living in a residence, 60 miles away from him and things like that. And what the article says on here, they said unreconcilable differences is what drove them, separate again. We know Benny Hinn as a popular televangelist. He preached online everywhere, and he repented of some of his practices in terms of what he talked about within money and tithing and things like that. And now it seems as if he's doing better in that specific category after his repentance. But obviously, there's still some issues happening at home, which is super sad. Anytime I hear of anybody breaking up, anything like of that sort, because I think divorce is such a it's such a tough thing. You know what I mean, when you talk about divorce and coming together. Man, can y'all speak on that a little bit as we get to a close?
Yeah, I mean, I know Benny Hinn. I know the name. I obviously don't follow him, but I know the article says that he repented from the prosperity gospel teaching 5 or so years ago, whatever. Like, praise God. Hope it's true. I hope it was a firm stand. There's not much details other than, for the divorce, other than unreconcilable differences. That's kind of the catch-all for lots of reasons why people just use for getting divorced. But I wonder, I don't even know how many years they've been married. So this is his first wife, I'm assuming?
That I don't know.
Okay.
But this is their
30
first
years.
breakup,
Yeah,
though.
30 years of marriage.
Yeah, this isn't their first
After
breakup.
30
But it's
years.
not their first divorce; it's their second divorce.
Right.
Yeah. He got married in 79, the year I was born. Wait, he got first married in 79. I don't even know. But, yeah, man, I mean, for people in this position, it's hard for me. I mean, again, I don't follow him. I mean, I know he was extremely popular as the televangelist movement, started to gain in popularity 20, 30 years ago, I guess, when he was kind of making his scene into the national kind of conversation. I don't know if he still pastors a church. I don't even know.
No, he doesn't. He like speaks at a few different places.
Okay.
But I don't think he pastors anything.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, my thoughts on this is like praying for him and his wife, and hopefully they work it out. And I hope they just always put God first in this, and hopefully there could be some reconciliation, from it. And if they've already been in this position and reconciled before, maybe there's an opportunity. Without really knowing any details, it's hard to really comment other than that.
For sure. Ultimately, man, we all just need Jesus. We all have things that we struggle with. We all have things that we're trying to get better at, and this is just one of those moments in times where we just have to kind of, when anything fails, what I tend to do sometimes is I tend to then look within. Like I think we can so easily point fingers about how bad somebody else is versus, man, you're inherently bad yourself.
No doubt.
Like, you got some stuff going on yourself. Like, if everyone saw your thoughts, like, come on, bro. Like, everyone would be ashamed and everyone would be, blemished if your thoughts were on, a screen. But my thing is, maybe we take this moment to maybe, just look within and say, you know what, let me take an inventory of my life to see if I have anything going on that I need to change, because I don't want this to be, my testimony. I don't want this to be, ultimately what people view us as man, I have irreconcilable differences with my wife. Man, Jesus is the ultimate reconciler. You know what I'm saying? So, within those personal things and personal issues, man, we should be able to work some of those things out so we can forward, the message of the gospel. As we come to a close, any final thoughts on any of the segments that we've done? You guys want to share any last thoughts before I close this out?
No, I think I reiterate what you just said there. First of all, it's hard to get into somebody's relationship and make determination of what happened. And it's almost not even fair to some degree, but it just all boils down to he who cast the first stone, right? So we've all got our own reconcilable differences with a lot of people probably that we need repentance for. We need a lot of help in. And so, a lot of times when we're talking about these articles, it's just based because it's out there, not because we're trying to find, dirt on somebody and see if we can bring it up or whatever. So it's just more based on, taking things that are current, taking things that are going on, trying to make some sense out of it, trying to have some debate, some logical explanations and stuff like that. But, we've got our own lives to deal with, and, and that's hard enough sometimes, right? So, we need all the help we can get.
Yeah. Scott?
Hey, man. I've been married 20 years, so it looks like they got first married in 79, then they divorced, got back together. So in totality, married 30 years. It does say there was no immorality, but then there's also reports of him and Paula White hanging out. I don't know, Paula White.
Yeah, Paula's an OG from back in the day.
She is OG. She still looks good. I mean, she's probably pretty old. But anyways, pray for him. We all need Jesus, bro.
For sure.
Hey, everybody.
Man, and that is DeVore Live, man, brought to you by, man, DeVore Capital. We just thank you guys for watching. Man, just to let you know a few of our services, man. We do, man, commercial and residential roofing. Man, come and see us. We have a referral program going on right now. If you refer yourself, you get $400. If you refer a friend, man, you get $200, and then that friend gets $200. And you can stack that up as much as you want. Make it a side business. Make it a little side hustle. Man, let us know that we love you guys. Man, have a good day. Peace and love.
Love out.